All right, today we got a PSA order that is finally back. It's a, I think 25, maybe 20, 30, 25 or 30 cards. Somewhere in that range. But it's all vintage, and that's always a good thing for me. So let's dive in and see what we got. I did look at the grades, but that was about a week ago, and who knows what I remember and don't remember. Okay. All right, so here we go. Let's see what we got. Nothing high end, some mid-grade stuff from what I remember. Okay, let's see. All right, let's go this way. That'll be the easiest way to do things. So, some of these are for my set builds. Some of these are just for my Cleveland Indians collection. And the majority of them are doubles that I'm going to be selling and using for trade. So, yeah, let's just get into it. These are the hand cut. I'll have to tap these down to get them to, there we go. That's nice and centered now. So this is the, and then you can get these numbered, or I'm sorry, like numerical grades. If obviously this has a big wave here, a little outward and an inward cut, and there's that blue line. So if you have a better cut on these, you can get them graded outside authentic. Authentic is just fine for me. I think I bought these in a lot where there was a couple other Hall of Famers, and then obviously it had the handful of Indians cards in here. They have the action shot and then the portrait. Here's the Bob Lemon action and portrait. That's the and you could see the same thing with these cuts. Just how I acquired them. But you can get these relatively inexpensive. I say that with when they're cut like that, you can get them for a good price. If they're, you could see that blue border all the way around, you know, you will get a big bump in the price. So there's the two Bob Lemons. This is the two Bob Fellers. Let's do a little better there. Okay, something with this one. There we go. And they should stay like that for a while, being displayed. So nice Bob Feller. I like that they used a standard size with the clear, and this is kind of like fogged out. I like the look of that. But yeah, that's the Feller portrait, and this is the action. And you could see the this one's actually not too bad. Missing the rest of that blue. If you just have that blue edge there all the way around and cut just on the outside of that. So if you ever get a panel and you're looking to get it graded, stay on the outside of the blue. Give yourself a blue line all the way around if you're going to cut it. But I like this. Who knows when it was cut? Could have been cut by some kid back in the 50s. You never know. I just think it's unique when I don't know the story. I think it's better for myself. Okay, here's a Mickey Mantle All-Star. This one's really, really nice, nicely centered. Just a hair off left to right and top to bottom, but it's comparable to what you see out there. This is a nicely centered copy. It's got some good color, and it's actually pretty white around these edges. So it did get a 4, and the reason it got a 4, it would have been much, much higher. I mean, a lot higher. somewhere in that 7 range. But if you could see very, very closely, there is a small wrinkle right above the 5 to here. Let me just look off camera. I mean, it's very, very small. It doesn't go through the back, but again, that'll get you back down. You still can get nice copies that are 4s that will have some creasing or wrinkles if the rest of the card, you know, they call it like the attributes of the card qualify. But this card is amazing color, registration, focus, the whole deal. It's great, you know, corners, everything. It's just a very, very clean copy. Really, really nice. So it's one of those cards that, yeah, it's a 4, but, you know, I don't know if they say technical grade, whatever people say, you say whatever you want. It's just a beautiful card for a 4. So if I was shopping for a 4, this would be a 4 to buy over many others, most likely. But it's a shame that, you know, has that little mark there, but it would have graded higher. Still beautiful. I still like it. So yeah, that's that. Here's a nice 7. And again, this is one that, man, after looking at it, I don't know. It's really, really nice. Maybe just a small touch on that corner. I don't know. The white on this is it's as bright as it probably was the day that it came out. Just a great looking card. Love that yellow background. A lot of the Cleveland Indians in the 58 set are yellow background as well. So maybe I'm a little partial to the yellow background. You know, you got the Mantle and then the Maris in the orange. Maris is orange, but he's with the Indians. And that's his rookie in 58. So that's a really nice looking 7. Got a Ken Boyer rookie here. Would have graded much higher, very nicely centered, and I'm okay with the 4.5. But you've got this, and it's not wax; it's part of the ink process right here. But if you look at it, let's see, I get this to focus for you guys. If you look at it right there, just a really, really nice surface. I mean, these are the kind of cards that I go after. If I'm seeing stuff like this for sale, that's a 4.5 and looks this good. I overlook that. I don't care about that. Look at the color on the card and the registration. It just looks great. Nice white border. I would call it, I mean, they're, I guess, off-white, but if you compare it to some of the cards that have really yellow toning and fading and things like that, just an amazing looking card. I mean, if you have that sitting on a shelf right about there, just looks so nice. Beautiful card. Ken Boyer, future Hall of Famer. He's not in the Hall of Fame, right? But he should be. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this the one? Let's see if this is the one. Yep, this is another one. It was really, really nice copy. And again, you can't see it from here, but you know, I'll point it out. And this is a good lesson that you guys can learn with vintage. It's very, you know, people think, oh, when you get to this level, there's no creases, or it'll be this from here down. You'll at least get this. Or if it has a crease, you're guaranteed to get this grade. The only thing I can really say is you will get a guaranteed grade under this if you have paper loss or writing and something like that, where you can have a qualifier with the MK when there's some pencil on the back or ink, or, so, you know, sometimes people will have a beautiful card and they'll cross out the name, or they'll cross out shortstop, and he moved over to third, and kids will write third and cross out shortstop, or they'll cross out Cubs and put, you know, whatever team he went to. So that's kind of something that you can say, oh, if it's guaranteed to have paper loss, you're probably going to get a 1, no more than a 2. That's the best you're going to do because of the paper loss. Or it has this, you're guaranteed to just have an authentic. So those are some things that, yeah, you can put your, you know, I guess put your finger on and say, hey, that's definitely going to get that no higher. And here's the reason why. With this, it's different. So this card it's beautiful. It's great. I mean, I'm holding this like this. Here's another good view. You still can't see it. I'm looking through my camera now. You still cannot see it. Let's go this way. It's got that nice factory edge here. that you sometimes see that rough cut edge. You can see it all the way across here. There's nothing wrong with the back of this card, but if you look, let's see if I can get it to focus here. Right there, right underneath the A and the B, it goes right to his shoulder and then right to here. Just a small wrinkle. And I don't think it's on the back. It doesn't go through the back, it's just on the front. So that's considered, you know, wrinkle versus crease. In my opinion, a crease was always front to back. A wrinkle, one side surface, whether it's on the back wrinkle or it's a front wrinkle. But just, I mean, I'm really close. I'm right to the camera's edge and it's hard to see. So if I just tilt this just a hair and bring it up, you can't see anything but a beautiful card. So again, it got a 4, but look how nice it is. Nice centering top to bottom. It is off left to right, but when I say off, we're talking, you know, 50-50 centering. A lot of these are off. There was no, oh, let's not cut that sheet that way and throw that away, because that's too off center. They cut what they had and they put them in packs and then they shipped them out. So just a great looking card. But that's kind of the, you know, the thing to look for, because I've seen people buy 4s and get some really good deals because of stuff like that. And to me, I'd rather have that than a very expensive 5, because the cards, some of these cards, not this one particular, but this would be a good example. This is a 3rd year Banks. But once this jumps to a 5, 6, and 7, the money does start to go up. You know, something like a Ken Boyer or, you know, even the Mantle. You get this in a 5, then you get this in a 6 and a 7, and you start working your way up. You know, from here, this far away, a foot away, that card looks better than most 6s, 7s, and not 8s, but most likely most 6s and 7s until you see that little wrinkle there. So here is a nice VG example. Again, nice picture and things like that. No creases, nothing. So a little surprised by this one, only getting a 3. There was no staining, no wax, no nothing. No wrinkles in the back. So there's a couple in here. I think there was 2 cards where I was just questioning, going, I just thought a little bit better, at least a 4. But again, you know, you could see the wear here on this corner. So maybe that corner was just a little bit too heavy. And then maybe if this was more centered, it would have bumped it up a little bit. But it does have all the corner touches. It does have a couple rounded corners. Anytime you get past 2 rounded corners, then you're going to get knocked down quite a bit. So, but that's still a great looking Campanella. This one's going to go towards my set. I didn't have that one yet. So there we go with that. Here is the big outlier. I'll probably spend the most time on this one to kind of fly through the rest of these. Now that it's in hand and I have it here, I don't see it. I'm not seeing it. I'm just not seeing it. And I try to give the unbiased take, you know. Obviously it's Cleveland Indians, but is there a nicer 4 that's out there for a 52 Dobie? I say no. But, I mean, there's no creases, no wrinkles. Does have a corner touch here. No paper loss where, you know, if you look closely, there's a big chip missing out of the corner. Sometimes it's tough on this off-white border. You got to look closely. But all the paper's still on that one. This one's a little fuzzy. This one's nice. This one's good. That one's got a slight touch. But these 2 corners, I mean, the centering color, I don't know. Yeah, that corner that is a really nice corner too. So yeah, it's this one and this one. That's it. That's just a touch on the outside. The backside doesn't have much there. That's a beautiful corner there. Anyway, what an awesome card. Who cares about the grade, right? It's not going anywhere. It's staying with me. So, and as you guys know, I don't know if I shared with you guys before, I think I have a 4 or 4.5 in my Feller, the yellow background. I sold my 7 for damn near a lot of money, and I lost it. It's somewhere. Had it sold and everything. So This right here, beautiful card. And if I had a 7 that was a little bit off-centered like I had on my Feller, I kept the lower grade and sold it. I think when I paid for it, I made 2x. No, 3. I sold it for 3 times what I paid. The stuff went up quite a bit. I had that card for a while. And I think I just bought it because I was going to go for a higher grade, but then I just said, you know what, this card looks better to me, and why don't I keep this one and then use the money to buy other cards. So again, similar situation. If I had Adobe that was like a 5 or 6 or 7, I would probably sell it because the card looks amazing. So here we go. This card's always off-centered left to right. Top to bottom is great. Nice card, good color. It's had maybe just slightest touch of snow on the background. No white spots, but it's got that like marbling in the dark background there. So beautiful card though, and a 6. Really, really tough. I always see these off left to right, always. So there's a nice Brooks Robinson. Frank Robinson, player manager for Cleveland Indians. Very cool. Big fan of Frank Robinson. Probably one of the cards you can get in a 57 Topps that's very, very affordable. I just sold one of my 4s that I have doubles of. And just amazing how the card's like under a few $100 for a PSA 4 of this legendary Hall of Famer. It's crazy. All right, here we go. Let's go. Bob Clemente. I mean, another one of these cards where, you know, we talk about eye appeal and centering and things like that. And I get it that it's got maybe some corner touches, but I mean, I don't even know if these cards I probably won't sell. I'll just keep something like this. To find these cards this nicely centered it's tough. They're out there, but look how nice they look. I don't care if that's a 2 or a 1. That's just a beautiful looking Clemente, and not one of the more desirable ones. A lot of people say because of Bob Clemente, you know, didn't like that. But he does have his full name right here in this signature, Roberto Clemente. So that's a nice card there. Again, beautiful looking card, awesome all the way around. Fence Busters has Eddie Matthews and Hammer and Hank Aaron right there. Great looking card. Just the centering on this one, you know, one little corner touch. The rest are all pretty nice. Just a good looking card. I like it. Hank's looking at Eddie. It looks like Hank's giving him the death stare. Like, are they even having a conversation right now? Did they say, hey, pose like this, or did they just walk up and got a shot of this? Very cool. Okay, here's a nice 58, another one with a yellow background. Nice. This is card number 1 in the set, Teddy Williams. And a nice PSA 6. Cool. Nice looking card. Not one of my favorites for Ted Williams. I'm not a big fan of just these headshots. I know, like some of the T206, you know, portrait, it's worth more, or it's worth more for this reason, whatever. I like baseball cards, you know, not photos of headshots like that. That's a cool photo. Whether it was planned, scripted, whatever. Hey, do this, do that. You know, he's holding a bat. Now, if it's going to be a portrait, that's a headshot. That's a portrait. Look at that smile. That I can live with. That's just my personal preference. Because some cards are, you know, the only card they have for that year of that player is a portrait headshot. Here's another one, Willie Mays. This one's got a VG3. Fully expected with the rounded corners, but what's nice about this, if you're shopping for a VG3, you can still get a really nice card. Small little wrinkle right here, but I mean, it's one of those 1 foot cards. You hold it back a foot from your face. It's great. Good color. Aparicio, 59. And a 6. Nice white borders. and it looks good. Very nice right there. Here's another Mantle. Here, let's compare this real quick. And I know, guys, I make long videos. I don't do any editing or anything like that. I don't know how to do that stuff, so just bear with me. But look at the difference on the right. You can see the difference in the white. That's when I mentioned white borders. If you're familiar with certain years, you know, obviously the later stuff, the toning and things like that, kind of like comic book pages, how they age. It's just what happens to the paper when they're exposed, and not, you know, in a case or anything like that. But you could see left to right. This card's obviously superior to that. The bold color, it's a lot brighter. Everything on this card on the right is just nicer. But again, that little tiny faint little wrinkle, and it's only about an 1/8 inch long from top to bottom, but that's what knocks it down to a 4. Otherwise we're sitting at a really sharp high grade Mantle. And then look at this one, you know, got some corner touches here, great centering left to right, off top to bottom, got a little bit of mark here on the back surface, but it's still got a 5. So someone that's interested in looking at something, hey, I need to do it and I want to get it in a 5, or someone that just holds the card like this and wants to get it graded and encapsulated, wants the card, I'm going with this one all day of the week. All day of the week, I mean any day of the week. Okay, here's another one. Another one with some really nice blue. Nice 3. Take a look here. I don't think this one had any creases at all. No creasing on this one. But you're going to get that grade, you know, with the rounded corners. And there's 4 corner touches. Usually any time you get past 2, it's going to get you. All right. Zimmer. Zimmer, is this a rookie? Wait, 54? Doesn't Zimmer have a 54? I'm trying to think right now. This might be Zimmer's second year. I can't remember. But again, a nice copy with no creasing, you know? But it's going to get you with the edges and the centering on this one. Got some heavy corner touches up there. A little bit of chipping up here. A little bit of a small fold. But nice image. It's in focus. Good color. You know, and everybody collects different. Everybody collects different. Who was it? I think it's the investor dealer. What is his name? Jeez, I watch his videos all the time. Sports car, whatever, investor dealer, not in those order. Why do I not remember this guy's name? Anyway, but I remember him saying in one of his earlier videos that he would prefer a card that I was mentioning about the Bob Feller, where it's off-centered and it's sharper corners and edges and things like that, versus the well-centered 4. He'd rather have that same card in a 6 with a little bit of centering stuff. And again, it's whatever you're into and whatever you like to collect. I tend to grade stuff that I know that will be good for trading, good to sell, and stuff that I'm going to hold and collect myself. But a lot of times it's just easier for me to spend a little extra money on vintage and not argue with somebody over a 4 or a 6 or a 5 over a 6 or 6 over a 7 and debate back and forth and have them get the card, not be happy with it. They can look at it and it's graded and they can, you know, make a better assessment that way. So it just, it's something under a certain dollar amount, I don't care. It's not a big deal. But once you get into some of the other better names, it's just nicer to get it graded, and then makes the transaction a lot easier. So here's a nice affordable, and again, this one got a 4. No creasing on this one. Maybe a little bit of, I don't know, wax or some toning right here on the edge, but the color on this one, the black, sometimes you'll see that with a lot of the snow. You'll see that a lot in the 61 set. But yeah, that's probably what got me. I mean, 2 really sharp corners over here, 2 corner touches on these, and then I think that little bit of a, I don't want to, that's wax. I'm not sure what that is, but it's got a little bit of a toning almost up here on this border, right around here. Rest of it's good, but right up here, that's probably my guess. But still, again, if I'm looking for a 4, that's a really nice one. And again, something like this, you just call it for what it is. It's like 3.5 because of it's properly graded. Like I said, that was the only outlier I think right here that I didn't agree with. The 53 Campy was borderline, but again, that bottom right corner was pretty banged up. So this one I love because I think it's this top edge. If you can see on the back, it's usually a little bit easier to see. See that rough cut there? That's a factory cut. I've watched some vintage packs being open on eBay, or not eBay, sorry, YouTube. You can watch them. They're out there. But primarily this is my lane I stay in. I love vintage. I do a lot of the new stuff, but in case you didn't know, this is what I collect, and this is what I go after, and this is, I primarily focus on my set builds, and I'm always consistently moving cards out, putting new ones in, pull out the 3 or the 4 or the 2 or the low grade copy of whatever. And my set builds are never done. They're always, if I come across a lot of cards that's 100 cards from 1964 and it's a good price, and I've got a EX set and I see some higher grades in there, even if there may be 10 cards I need, I'll buy that entire lot, swap out the ones I need, and then resell that entire lot right back. Or put the work in and sell them card by card to set builders, and then you can make a couple dollars to put back into the hobby. So if you put the work in, you can do it. But left to right, this card's awesome. Top to bottom, that's the only issue. Maybe they got me because of this right here. I don't know. But this is one of those cards where okay, you know, but I love that factory edge. I don't care what the grade is. This is a keeper, you know. This one's going into my set. I love that. That's how it came out of the pack. You know, another thing with vintage cards, guys, just be very cautious when you have a card that's got naturally worn, and then naturally worn, whatever it may be. 3 sides, doesn't matter which side it is, and then you see one side that's just razor sharp. Because there is times and there is instances where these cards come oversized. They are cut bigger or they're cut smaller. That's not the topic here, but they're cut bigger, and then someone that's going to do something shady will trim one side, and it's like, wow, look at that corner on this bottom right and bottom left. But up here, it's perfectly fine. Like the kid had, you know, styrofoam and in his pocket, and he had this all covered up over here, and then this part was exposed, and it's all rough and jagged and chipped up and beat up, but the one side is like perfectly straight. People will do anything to get a couple extra dollars out of a card, so just be cautious of that. I personally like this, and again, PSA didn't ding me for this edge. I think the several $1 million Gretzky O-Pee-Chee, which they cut in a different process of cutting cards, has the one side or 2 sides are completely with that rough cut, and I think it got the 9 or the 10, the one that sold for well over $1 million, I believe. So they understand that, you know, these are how these cards were cut sometimes, and a lot of the 57s are like that, and the 56s that I've seen out there in the market. But I love that factory edge look. Another affordable Hall of Fame rookie that you can get really cheap. And I hate to say stuff like this, but when somebody passes, they do go up. If you're looking to get into vintage and to Hall of Fame rookies, Mazurowski, this card's very cheap. Nice Hall of Fame rookie, and I think he does through the mail auto signing, or he did. I don't even know if the guy's still alive. Honestly, I don't know, but I know cards go up when people pass, which kind of sucks because, like, we all die. But do you not appreciate the guy's card now to not get him? I don't know. It just, some of these rookie Hall of Fame cards are so cheap compared to what's out there today of the modern stuff. It blows my mind. So again, nice 4 here. This image is always not the greatest. I haven't seen, I think I have a 5 or a 6 for my set. But a little off on the back, left to right. But no creases anywhere. Actually a pretty strong looking 4. Not a bad looking card. Okay, Bob Feller, nice. That's cool. Love it. Happy to have this. These were, if you could see the staining all throughout the whole entire card. I'm not a big fan of this bag. On the back, it doesn't matter. I guess it's got like some, looks like there's air in there. But I'm trying to get you a good image right there. There we go. So that's a nice, and it's not really picking it up, but you see this staining right here? It's on the entire card. I'm trying to get you a good image where you can see, there it is. Okay, you can see all the different staining throughout. Those are all, it's all oil from the chips. It's got staining all over. This stuff right here might be, who knows, probably a little bit of mold growing on there from the chips. You can get these in better condition. It's got the little nubs up here. It's like perforations. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's 1, 2, yeah, 3, 4. I have seen them where people that work there have gotten them, and I've seen these things in such like pearl white condition, almost as white as this label, just a lot brighter, and I don't know. I like this. It tells a story. But we had the Dandy chips here in the Cleveland area growing up. All right, just a few more. Let's see what we got here. Next one. Another really nice card. Centering is the only thing that got me here. But look at that. Just an awesome looking card. Just bump it over a little bit to the left. But this one's stained the collection, I believe. A little bit of a wax stain right here. So you're still able to get a 5 with a little bit of staining right there with some wax. So again, you know, when you have a nice image like that, that thing is, you're not going to find a better picture of a card. The color, registration. You know, I say registration and focus. You don't have that like a blurred image where it's kind of offset or it looks like it's foggy and distorted. That's a big thing with vintage. People think it grades, color, edges, centering. There's a lot more to it. So, but just one more look at how nice that is. And that's something that, you know, I'll probably hang on to for a long time unless I come across a better copy. But this is like not my priority right now since the set's complete for the 54 Bowman. I'll probably focus on putting money towards something else. If I see a nicer, you know, maze, I'll sell the one I have and maybe upgrade to a better copy at some point. I'd rather do that because let's say you have a PSA 3 and you can get yourself a PSA 4 or an ungraded copy that's really nice and to replace the one you have, and maybe you could sell that one for 200 and get one that's 300. So you're improving your set, getting a better copy that you like or enjoy for just $100 difference, because that card's very liquid. You could sell a Willie Mays or an Eddie Matthews within a day. I mean, they're very easy to sell. So here is another Bob Feller. I have 2 6s now. I have the 8, so I sold my 6, and then I had this ungraded. So, or I didn't sell my 6. I have it listed. Got some offers. I was kind of firm on my price because there's none available right now except for the one I have. So, could I be asking just a touch more? Maybe, but if there's nothing on the internet, I'm really not going to get out of a 52 Hall of Famer for $50 to $75 less because I just want to sell it. So, and eBay takes so much money. It's tough to sell a card for $300 and then they take, you know, $75 to that. I'll just hang on to it or take it to a show or put it on my site and trade it, or put it up here on YouTube and let people look at it and maybe do some trading for some vintage. But very nice copy here. This is a 6. And like I said, I increased my my grade up to an 8 so on my personal copy. So now I have 2 6s available. This one's staying with me. I didn't have this one yet. This is the Bob Lemon in a 5. And you can talk about the difference when we're talking about color and registration. Ignore the background, ignore the green and the shadows and things like that, but just look at the face on that Bob Lemon. So again, I got these in a good price. I got them ungraded a while back. And I just hang on to my vintage whenever I want to get something graded, or hey, I have doubles. Let's get one graded and sell it to, you know, bring some money in to try to, you know, we got to pay the bills sometimes. But you can see right here, it's got a nice close up. You could barely see the features on his face. Now you bring that one right there. You can see everything. That's a great image right here. Just a spectacular image. So you see the difference when we're talking about color, focus, registration, all that good stuff. Here's a perfect example side by side of two cards. Still very nice, both of them. You know, and then people will say, it's just a 5. It should sell as a 5. They're all unique. These cards are like fingerprints. They're so different. It's not like when you open up a pack of cards today, you know, you have here's 24 Stadium or 23 Stadium Club. Beautiful cards. They're all like this. They all look like this on the back. It's not like that. These cards are just that's what I love vintage. They're just one of a kind. But again, in this card, you're not going to find this card with this thin centering and then this split down. This is normal. This is how it was with, on the perforated tabs on these. You can see the perforations. So when you see this and you're going, oh man, look at the centering on that card. That card's much better. Well, that's not true. So if you look at the way these are cut, these 3 tabs here, and you got the tabs down here, they perforate and break apart. That's the tabs. That's where the card's cut in the center. That's where the tabs are placed. All of these fellers are going to have this higher, thicker top. It's just how they were produced. So, well, people may say, wow, look at that centering. It's good left to right, but color's good, registration, but it's only a 6. Look at that big border up there. It's not how it was. And you can even see on the back here, look how thin that is, and that's the top part. So, yeah, there's another good example there. It's just how the cards were produced. The fellers are always going to be like that at the top. So there's a good little crash course on the Burke Ross. And then last up, we've got a nice Eddie Matthews. Little thin on that left side. Look at that image there. Who is that? Oh, the ball's laying there, so you must have slid in and knocked the ball loose. Can't tell who that is. But I just love this color. I love these 56s, the 55s. They just look great. So here's a nice look at the back. Some great little comics back here. If you just skim through a 56 set. Look, a flying saucer. There's the ball coming out of the, it says County Stadium. It hit over 40 home runs for the 3rd straight year in 55. He set a record in 1953 by hitting 30 homers on the road. Nice. Better away numbers than he had at home. Interesting. Wow, that's cool. Didn't know that. Ed has developed into a fine fielding 3rd sacker. Oh, man. It's great. Yeah, I just love the images, man. That's such a clean picture. So, all right, guys. Well, sorry for the long video. Hope you guys enjoy the vintage. If you have any questions, there's a lot of good guys out there in the hobby that you guys can follow. I don't know everything. I just give you my advice and share what I know. And then I hope that somebody can prove me wrong on some of the stuff I say. That means I'm learning. So anytime anyone's willing to teach you a little something for free, listen to them. It'll help you out. It'll save you money in the long run. There's a lot of good people that are out there. As long as they're not trying to sell you something on a particular card, listen to them, because they've been around longer than I have, and they've been dealing with vintage for a very long time. And so have I. I've always collected. This is my main thing. Most of my collection, I'd say 85, 90% of it is vintage. You may not believe that with the stuff that I do, but I do enjoy opening cards and having the Friday live streams. It's really tough you can't buy some of this vintage. You could buy packs from the 60s and 50s. If you're filthy rich, you can certainly do that. But, you know, the new stuff is still part of the hobby. And I used to be one of those people that would say, oh, forget that modern stuff, forget this, forget that. But the reality is, if without the modern stuff, this wouldn't be a hobby anymore. This would die too. It's just the reality of it. It would definitely die off. There's just not enough people doing it. There's not enough, you know, if you just had nothing but vintage shows and people passing around the same cards, that would catch up pretty quickly. And with nothing new back into the hobby, inventory would run out. So a lot of these cards, also keep in mind, I'll say one last thing, these cards are not rare. A 52 Mantle is not rare. It's expensive. A card with low pop, let's just say this was a 9, which is extremely low. I know the 8s are low pop as well, but let's just say this was a 9, if there is any 9s. I'm just, for example's sake, this is a 9. It's an expensive card. Yeah, it'd be expensive, but it'd be expensive and rare because of the low pop count due to condition, not due to the scarcity of the card, because there's so many lower grade ones that are available. It's not a scarce card. A scarce card is basically any grade. The card itself and the total population is scarce. So there's a difference between scarce and rare, and then the other would be valuable and rare, valuable and not rare. The Mantle, the Maze Rookie, the Errant, beautiful cards, awesome cards. Everyone would love to have them, but they're just not rare. So another thing to think of when you're collecting, and the reason for your collecting, whatever that may be, just take into account all of that stuff. There's a lot of good guys that talk about vintage. Mangini, he talks quite a bit. He's got a lot of, he calls it obscure items, rarities, whatever you want to call it. And some aren't that valuable, but some are very valuable. And just watch his old videos. Watch some of the stuff he talks about. Mangini's great. Blue Jacket 66. Dave, he's got an amazing collection. There's so many people I can mention. Dan's Vintage Baseball. Dan just recently started posting, and he does nice little series, has different vintage collectors on. I'll probably tag those 3 guys because I enjoy their channel a lot, and they're showing stuff regardless of it's graded high, graded low, ungraded. It doesn't matter. They're just teaching you about vintage and sharing a lot of good information, and you could take something from each one of those guys. And I'm sure I can go on and on and on with tons of other guys. Orlando, Collector's Dream is another one. I'll tag him too. So I'd say right off that, just off the top of my head, if I'm forgetting somebody, not a lot of people follow me and watch me, but those are my 4 guys that I'm going to plug and share with, because I think that those guys offer something to the hobby that is, it's really cool. It's really unique. They're taking the time out of their day to post videos, to share their collection, to talk about cards. Yeah, so I'll end it there, and then maybe talk more vintage and share some more of my collection with my set building videos that I'm going to start doing, like I just did with the 2024 Series 1. I'm going to do an entire series of that for every set, and talk more about the vintage stuff, and even the stuff from the 80s and 90s, 70s, all of it. Everything needs to be talked about. I think I'm going to do a series on those sets, but yeah. These Dove chocolates, these are my 2 favorites. These are amazing, but you have to pop them in the freezer or the fridge, and then ice cold milk. Nothing better. All right, y'all. I hope you enjoyed the long video. If you're still watching, you're still sticking around, I always got a lot to say. Look at this Dawson I pulled out of 24 Series 1. Also a card collector. Look how nice that signature is. Love it. Catch y'all later.